Hello there. Here we are with issue 25, and this one should really start things going. So let's go ahead and have a look here. So first we're going to talk about the magazine. We got the Delta 7 Athersprite Starfighter. This is the Jedi Starfighter. And of course we saw this in great detail with Obi-Wan. And then we're going to be visiting Lothal. So that should be interesting. I may actually spend some extra time on that one. Only the people who are familiar with the show Rebels will be familiar with Lothal. But if you're not familiar with Rebels and you are a Star Wars fan, I highly recommend it. Especially if you've seen all of the Clone Wars TV show, then that's very important. Under Secrets of Spaceflight, we're going to go over the gyro computers. That helps you fly and keep you stable and all that kind of stuff. And here we are with our parts. So we're going to have some more frame, which is, we seem to get that all the time. Some more hull plating. We've already got our assembly jig parts. We got some screws. And then we've got these little posts. And then we got some more walls and some cushions. And so now this is, in order to keep this from getting terribly difficult, what I may do is get a fine tipped marker and mark the backs of both of these, so that way I can tell which ones are which. And that way when I cut them out, clean up the edges and stuff, I can still figure out which ones go where. So that will be important. And those little tips there are going to be important because those are going to replace these screws I mentioned. And those screws are there. We're going to pull those screws out. We're going to put these posts in and glue them in place, and that will clean this part up, and that will be a lot of fun and very needed. And so that will finish off our cargo, or our main hold. And so there we go. And so that will be issue 25. So first thing let's do is pull out our parts and make sure that I pulled everything correctly. Alright, so now I didn't do a pulling parts video for this. That was just something I wanted to do as a behind the scenes type of thing. So here's our hull plating. Here's our other piece. I don't know where this is going to go, but this piece does not go on that. So that's important. Set those off to the side. Here we go. Here's our long screws. I'm not sure what that's going to be for, but we'll have them. And we've got, oh, yeah, this is going to be for a rib. I'm sure these screws here will be for one of the ribs. We got these small black screws, and that's going to be to hold that plating in place. Here's those little posts. Look how tiny those bad boys are. So this whole thing is more or less the size of my thumbnail. And by the time you pull those little things off, then there you go. So these will have a little bit of cleanup to do. I'll need to wash them before I paint them. So I'm going to paint these just like I do everything else. So these will get painted. What I'll probably do is probably also mark these with the fine tip marker as far as like I might call them set 1. So set 1 would be this one. So I'll have this one, and that one will be set 1, and then this one and this one will be set 2, and then I'll figure out which one of these goes to which one and mark them accordingly. So there's our pads. So I'm going to go ahead and get these open. And I think instead of doing everything fast forwarded through this, because I need to mark all of these on the back side, I got to go find a pen and all that. I'm going to do all the cleanup work off camera. These, for the most part, are going to be pretty simple, just a quick run through, make sure all of the little extra pieces are cleaned up and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll mark the backs, mask the back, and Not that I really need to mask the back. It shouldn't hurt anything. But I'll get those done. I may mask these bottoms so that way that they can fit into the floor and the ceiling as needed and be glued in place. So I'll mask at least this backside here. So that way I at least have some gluing surface. So I will do that, get these all marked and cut out, and after I am done getting all of these taken care of, I will go ahead and paint these and all that kind of stuff, and we'll come back and see how that goes. So I'll catch you after a little bit. Okay, so here's something I've never showed you guys. Never showed you painting any of this stuff. So we're going to start off, we're going to prime it. I'm just using Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover Flat Gray Primer. And this is supposed to say also bonds to plastic. So like all spray paint, we shake the crap out of it. And then I like to do a couple test passes, make sure it's painting. And then I'm just going to stay back a certain distance away. And I want to make sure that I get all of the edges. Now the good thing with primer is even if you get it a tad bit heavy, it will kind of shrink a little bit as it dries, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And just checking the coverage here. Just give it a, there we go. Alright, so now all we have to do is wait about 20 to 30 minutes and wait for that to dry, and then we'll come back and we'll use the airbrush. So real quick, I just want to test my airbrush, make sure I don't have to clean it. And it blows fine. The needle, you can see the needle there. You can see it as I pull back on the trigger. The needle here at the front pulls in. See, it disappears. So this is a dual action airbrush. Press down gets air, pull back lets the paint go. So you press down and pull back and you get paint. So that's the airbrush, and as soon as that dries, we'll get some paint on those. It'll be the same color that we paint everything, so we'll see you when that's all dry and we'll paint those up. Alright, so we're back. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Probably not. So I've got the paint in there. I'm trying to show you how little bit of paint there is. Probably this thing is somewhere between a third and a half full, which is, I'm sure, too much paint, but it's better than having to go get more. So let's go ahead and paint this up. So do a test pattern here, and you can see with dual action we can do really light, or we can pull it all the way back and get big swaths. So let's just get this painted up. And of course, as I'm doing this, the furnace is going to kick on, so you're going to have a hard time hearing me, probably. But I am pretty close to the phone, so that'll help. Just there'll be some background sound. Actually, we'll probably end up using all this paint. I like to try to go in all the different angles to make sure that I get full coverage. And see if you guys can see that. Probably not, it's pretty dark. I have barely any paint left. So there we go. We're going to let those dry, and then those will be ready for putting everything together. So we'll see you when we get ready to do that. Okay, so while we're waiting for the walls to dry, here we have all of the pieces. So I've numbered them all, and I've color coded them. So I put the same color coding on the backs of all the walls. Some of the numbers kind of bled off, like this one here, I think might, see if we can get this in focus. I think that might be a 2. I'm not sure. So some of them I can tell what they are, some of them I can't. But we'll see what happens. When it's time to put them on, I should be able to figure them out, though. As long as I can get the majority of them, know where the majority of them are, we'll be good to go. So one of the things that we are going to be doing is, and I talked about this before, is we are going to be replacing these screws here. So first thing we have to do is take the screws out. And of course I painted this wall, and the little buttons that we're going to be screwing in there, or gluing in there, is not going to match the wall. So I'm going to have to do some work to make them match. So we have that going on as well. Get these screws out of here. There's our 2 screws gone. Now I already took these out, and they give you 3. You only need 2. Let me hold one of these up for you. So that's how small this little thing is. It is tapered. See if you can see that. Oh, I dropped it. So it is tapered. Let me hold this up again. So you can see, like, right in the middle, it's kind of fatter on one side than it is the other. So obviously the fatter side goes on the outside. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need some glue. And let's put our glue up on this side this time. Going to mess me all up on the glue on the side that I'm not used to. That's okay. So what my thought is, I'm going to glue this in place, and once I get it glued in, I'm gonna have to hold this probably. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how these things go in there. Maybe I should try to dry fit one? No, because I won't get it back out. It'd be a horrible idea. Alright, so, well, here's one. Okay. So what I want to do is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it. There's a hair. Random hair. See if you guys can, you can't see the hair. CSI. Oh, you can just see it right there. And there you go. Got some random hair there. So it can't be mine. Mine's extremely short, especially now. I just cut my hair. And even if it was my beard, which has been growing longer, my beard is not near as fine as the hair on my head. So I'm just going to put glue on the end. I don't know if you guys saw that. So I'm just putting glue on the end, and then that should press all the glue all the way through. Oh, it's going to get ugly. Alright. Use this screwdriver. Press it. I don't think it went in. I think it shot out. No, actually it did go in. Alright, so I'm going to hold that in place until that dries. That went in easy, which is one, kind of a good thing, but two, not really a good thing. So what I'm going to do, okay, alright, there we go. So that one's in. Let's grab another one and get the bottom one in, and I'll show you kind of what it's going to look like after I get this in, because you really can't see a whole lot. It does look like that's pulling out just a smidge. Let's get some more glue on here. Alright, so we got to put this one in the bottom and use this. There we go. I had to turn it sideways so I can actually get that in there. Alright, there's that. Let's push it home with this. Yeah, when that goes in, that goes in. Alright, so, see if you guys can see right there. You might be able to see it right there. So there's a dent now in the wall. So I'm going to let those set up for just a couple minutes there. And then I'm going to come back and fill them with putty. Alright, so let me stand this up so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just going to take some putty. I'm going to press it into the hole. And I'm just going to let it kind of have an extra blob there, because I'm going to come back and sand it. And it should probably shrink a little bit as it dries. So I want to make sure I got plenty on there, because I can sand a lot off. That's fine. And after we get this all sanded off and everything, then I'll just hand paint it with the same paint, the German gray, and we'll hand paint it, and it might stick out a little bit because it's going to be hand painted, but hopefully it doesn't stick out too much. So we'll let that dry, and we'll come back when we're ready to proceed with that. That'll probably, I might let it dry all the way until all of the airbrushing and everything's done. So we can throw away that brush. There's 2 micro brushes, and we'll be using several when we go to put these on, probably. Alright, so here we are. Everything's painted now, and we can kind of move on with everything. So just wanted to show how the painting came out. You can see how I marked these. So these 2 are silver, these 2 are green. Those 2 there are marked with green. And just so you can see when you paint them, I mean, it paints pretty crisp. There's a little bit, maybe light paint right there that didn't quite go crisp. No, I think it was crisp. Some of the silver came off, so that's pretty interesting. Wanted to just kind of show that. So we can pull off our maskings off of these. And again, I mask those so that way I can glue them. And you can see, maybe, oops, you can tell where it was masked, because you can see how that's shiny, and obviously where I painted is not shiny. So The paint that I use is a dull finish, so if I decide I need it to be gloss for this paint anyway, I have to use a um, a gloss clear coat, which I do have some, but uh, I don't want it to be glossy. Now, if I was doing Lando's Falcon, I think everything would might do this color, but then all of the pads would be like freshly white and, you know, super crisp. But I think the stuff behind the pads would be, I think it's dark as well. I'd have to look again at some of those. Okay, so let's start off with the greens. So I'm just gonna break out the greens separately. All right, so this one's green, silver, that will be silver, and this will be green. All right, and our book tells us which ones go where. Uh, Okay, so the green is the bottom one. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with this one. This will be the easiest one to do, and then we can do that one because some of these pads I think are gonna seem the same. So on this side we got 1 through 7. So that's not 1, that's 11. I didn't do a very good job of cleaning up these edges. The goal was, I was just trying to get the nubbins cleaned off, which I did that fine. But, so when I sand it, I'm sanding it like this on the end, and that gets this end to kind of roll a little bit. So the way to kind of take care of that would be to come back with the sanding stick and sand across the backside there, and that would clean off those little pieces. But I failed to do that. I don't know if you can see this bright thing right there. You can see the light kind of glint off of it. So whatever that is, I'm going to see if I can't get it out of there. Got it. Whatever that was. It's gone now. All right, so that's done. Okay, so you guys may be asking yourselves, how come if uh, how come if what I normally do is run this across the edges, why don't I do that now instead of using a knife? Part of that is because the reason why I'm not doing that is because that will create some dust. I don't want there to be any more dust than what we got now. So these little shavings are easier to kind of make sure I don't get glued on and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm not using the sanding sticks now and I'm using the knife instead. 14. So I think that last little round went a lot easier, just putting them all in and then gluing them all at once. That's what I want to do this time too. So while I'm doing this real quick, I do want to ask you guys all a question. Here's what I want. I want everybody that's watching and will watch this in the future. What I want you to do is, I'm curious who all is watching the Mandalorian show. Who watched it last time and who's going to be watching it season 2. So if you don't know, season 2 starts October 30th. Actually, it's tonight. Tonight, today, whenever it's going to be going. So tonight, as you're the same day that you're watching this is when it's going to be available to watch the first episode of season 2 on Disney Plus. So what I'm curious is, one, did you watch season 1? And 2, are you going to watch season 2? What I want you to do, and this is going to be rather unorthodox, and don't feel bad about it, but if you watched it, you liked it, and you're going to watch season 2, just put in a comment down below, Mando was awesome, or something like that. If you did not watch it, and you don't plan on watching it, for one reason or the other, whether or not you just don't have Disney Plus or something like that, then what I want you to do is hit the dislike button, hit the thumbs down. Don't feel bad about it, because it's, for those that don't know, hitting the thumbs down button on the video doesn't hurt my metrics for the video. It helps it as much as a dislike. Basically, any interactions on the video at all, comments, likes, dislikes, all that, helps the video and the metrics. So in reality, liking it and commenting down below, or disliking it and commenting down below, actually helps more than just one or the other. So if you did not watch and you don't plan on watching, for whatever reason, then hit the dislike button. If you want to tell me the reason, then just throw a comment down there and say, not your cup of tea, it's, you don't have Disney Plus, can't afford it, whatever the case may be. And just let me know. I'm just kind of curious. I'm going to be watching it because I think it's a freaking awesome show. All right, so that is the end of, I think I'm going to call it the end of this for now. Reason being, I'm going to paint these off camera. You guys have seen me paint this stuff before. I don't think you need to see me paint it. I added the painting of this, the background stuff, something I wanted to add in. And essentially that's everything in this issue. So let's just kind of review. So we put these things in, all right? We filled those gaps in. I do have to sand it and paint it. I'll do that off camera as well. It's probably going to be a bit of a pain to do. We put all those in, and there we go. So that's that. That is issue 25. 26, we're going to get the floor and the ceiling of that. We're also going to get the floor for a little partial walkway. And let me show you where I believe that's going to go here on this side here. So that's just going to go right here. And so that will be in the next issue. We'll get the just the floor part, not the bottom ring, but the floor part of that. And off camera, I will. This is dry. I'll be able to sand this down. That part's going to be a pain to sand. I may have to make sure I have some compressed air, to be able to take care of that. But I'll get those sanded down and painted, and I'll show it to you when we come back for issue 26. So that is everything for issue 25. These are all glued and all that kind of stuff. The glue's dry, looks like. Thank God. This was the last one I did. And thankfully, oh wait, this is the last one I did. I'll just flip that one back over. I don't want it to get stuck down here. I'll flip all these over. And like I said, I'll paint these off camera. It's something you guys have seen me do several times, so no need to do that again. And we'll be ready to go on issue 26. We may be putting these in, so they'll definitely be painted by then. So I will see you then. And don't forget to dislike if you didn't watch Mandalorian series. You're not going to watch it again. If you want to comment and tell me why, that's cool. If you did watch it, throw a comment down below and tell me that you watched it and you liked it and you're going to watch it again or what have you. So, thanks, guys, and may the force be with you always.